My name's Ian Watkins, originally born in England and moved to the United States approximately 20 years ago. Moved to St. Louis to take a new position with Mallinckrodt Pharmaceuticals, where I'm the Senior Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer. As part of our relocation from Philadelphia to St. Louis, the company provided us with some support services, and we were introduced to an organization called William French Realtors. They're headed by actually somebody that's another board member here at the Independent Center, Bill French, and had the opportunity to meet Bill very early on in our relocation. And in the spring of 2013, Bill invited me to join him as a guest at the Independent Center's Golf Day. And Bill very kindly offered to pick me up and run me down to Forest Park for the event. And actually on the drive down, I asked him about what I thought was a very simple question. What was his involvement with the Independent Center? And Bill told me the story of his son and how through the Independent Center he very firmly believed that his son's life had been significantly improved. I spent a lot of time reflecting on what Bill had told me in the conversation that we'd had. And I think I can honestly say that's the first time that I ever started to think about my own family and our own situation and the proximity of mental health to those very close to us. And that was the first time that I think I was ready to accept that even in our own family we had issues that perhaps we hadn't talked about or didn't acknowledge in the way that it needed to be acknowledged in the past. Mental health is an issue that impacts so many people. 1 in 4 is the statistic, and it's very clear that that's a real and troubling statistic as well, something we need to be aware of. One of my own children, my youngest son, Lucas is 20 now, and probably from the early stages of high school we saw a change in him, and we saw him starting to struggle with relationships, with friends. I credit my wife for being able to step in early on and see the change and be brave enough to actually engage in some of those conversations about how he was feeling and what he was struggling with. And we were able then to meet some very talented and wonderful professionals that for Lucas have been the right combination of support that's really helped him. Without the right support, without being willing to have those conversations, it's just not going to cure itself, it's going to get worse. And for those that are suffering, that isolation and the associated stigma really can be the difference between life and death unless there's help. I've learned a lot during my time with the Independent Center. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about mental health and mental illness. I've learned a lot about what some very basic levels of support can mean to people and the benefit that can be provided from that. Well, I think for anybody that is interested in getting involved more with the Independent Center, the first thing I encourage anybody to do is be curious, ask questions. A lot of board members here this evening, a lot of members here this evening. I would encourage you to go and find them, talk to them, ask them about why they're involved and what their story is. If you have the opportunity to talk to a member, ask the member about what the Independent Center means to them and what difference it makes in their lives on a daily basis. I can guarantee whatever you're able to bring, whatever you're able to provide in the way of support, it will be welcomed and will be well utilized.